Hello everyone, my name is Pris from Prisperuses and welcome to another video. This is an unexpected video because I am doing another unhaul. I recently did an unhaul. I unhauled over 50 books, but whilst I was reorganizing my bookshelves, and you can already see behind me that I was quite brutal, I came to the conclusion that I had a lot more books, typically YA books that I don't necessarily gonna read, not interested anymore, or that I have read, enjoyed them, not enjoyed them, but I'm just not gonna reread them. I was like, let's do it properly this time and make sure that when I do this bookshelf reorganization and when it's done, I actually have a room for like the long period, the long haul. So I'm hauling a bunch of books again. I think there are over 60 books this time, so even more than last time. I wasn't sure I was gonna do a video. I was like, we'll just get rid of them, but then I was like, I know you guys love an unhaul, so I will go through these books. I'm not gonna be talking about what they're about, because half of the time I can't even remember or I don't know, but I will briefly touch upon them and why I decided to get rid of them. First up, we have the Captive Prince trilogy. This has been on my TBR the longest time. I keep hearing really good things about it, but these have been on my TBR for years and years and years and years. I've still not picked them up, so it's time for them to go. Then we have Lifelike by J. Christoph. I am just certain that I'm not gonna read this and I'm not interested in this anymore, so therefore it's gonna go. Next up is autobiography. I have a bunch of contemporary books that I'm just not interested anymore in. When I got back into reading into 2015-16, again, I was very much a contemporary reader. I still have a lot of books from that time period, but I'm just not interested in it anymore, and the cover is stunning, but it just has to go. Same goes for Indigo Donut, another contemporary that I'm just not gonna read. Then we have Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven. I did read All the Bright Places. I read All the Bright Places at exactly the right time. I really needed it, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. It holds a very special place in my heart. I think if I would reread All the Bright Places, I wouldn't enjoy it as much anymore, but it has a very special place in my heart because I read it at exactly the right time. But I'm just not interested in reading this. Next up, we have The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. I think this came in a fairy loot box. I saw Jade reading this and absolutely not enjoying herself, and then I was like, I don't think I will like this, so it has to go. Next up, there is Someone in Your House by Stephanie Perkins. I don't know, I'm not gonna read this. I have no feelings toward this book. Next up, we have Wilder Girls. I know this is probably a book that y'all think, no, don't do it, but it has been on my TBR forever and I'm just not gonna read it. And I hear it's quite like violent and gory, and I'm not all about that stuff. So I hear the ending was quite disappointing as well, so it like put me off a little bit. So next up, we have 13 Minutes. I read this, I enjoyed it at the time. I think upon reread I will probably hate it. But no, I did really enjoy it at the time, but I'm never gonna reread this, so therefore it has to go. Next up, we have Stronger, Faster and More Beautiful. I don't know, I think it was Becca from Becca and the Books that gives this 1 star, and I was like, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna read this, so it will go. Next up, we have Midnight Sun. I'm not gonna read this. Did I see the movie? I think I saw the movie of this, which was also shit. So, you know, so I don't want to read this. Then we have Thalson. I'm not gonna read this. This is about dragons though. Shit, should I keep it? Let me know if I should keep this. Let me know down below in the comments if this is any good. Next up, we have Fire and Ice, YA fantasy that I'm not interested in. I think I got this also in a fairy loot box, but I don't want it. Next up is The Shock of the Fall. I have no idea what this is about, and I'm not gonna read it. Then we have Love from A to Z. I did read this. I enjoyed it at the time, but I'm never gonna reread this, so therefore has to go. Next up, we have 2 books by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is The Problem with Forever and If There's No Tomorrow. I read both of these. I enjoyed them at the time. Not gonna reread them. They have to go. Next up, we have Wonder Woman. I unhauled like the Batman and the Catwoman already. And then I found this and I was like, why didn't I unhaul this? So it was supposed to be gone by now, but it's going now. Then we have Showstopper by Haley Barker. I'm not gonna read this. It's about a circus, I think, but I'm just not interested in this anymore. Next up we have Stacks by M.A. Bennett. I keep hearing really mixed things about this, but I had this for the longest time and I still have not read it, and therefore it must go. Next up we have The Forbidden Wish. This is an Aladdin retelling, but I just completely lost my interest over this. I had this also for the longest time. I'm not gonna read it. Next up is Tradition. This is, I think, in a school setting, which is normally my jam, but it just looks like a bunch of mean girls in high school, and I'm not vibing with that anymore. So therefore it just has to go. Next up is All These Beautiful Strangers. I can't even remember buying this. Next up we have a bunch of books by E. Lockhart. I read all of these. I enjoyed them very much at the time, but I'm not gonna be rereading this, with the exception of We Were Liars. I'm keeping We Were Liars. These are gonna go, and We Were Liars can stay. Then we have Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. This is a beautiful Owl Crate edition. I sprayed the edges red myself. So it's a beautiful copy, but I have been hearing very bad things about this book and I'm just not interested in it anymore, so therefore it just has to go. Then I have a gigantic stack of books, which are all by Holly Bourne. I read most of these. I did really enjoy it at the time. It was very much when my reading taste was contemporary and not fantasy. So I did really enjoy them at the time, but they take up so much space on my shelves. I'm not gonna reread them. I think I will hate them upon reread. So yeah, I'm just getting rid of these. But they were great at the time for me. Next up we have 5 Feet Apart. I read it. It was alright, but now it has to go. Then I have these books by Bridget Kemmerer, contemporary books by her. I'm not gonna be reading these. I bought these when my reading taste was quite different. Have not read them, not going to, so they have to go. Next up we have Royals, same story, contemporary, probably very cute, but not my taste anymore. Next up we have A Heart So Fierce and Broken, also by Bridget Kemmerer. I did really enjoy A Curse So Dark and Lonely. But I keep hearing dreadful things about this one and even worse things about the last one, and I am not up for that at all, so I'm just getting rid of this. I'm not gonna continue the series. Next up we have Foolish Hearts. It's a gorgeous cover. I think this was also in an Owl Crate back in the day, but I'm not gonna read this. Next up we have Slay. I had this for the longest time. Still not have read it, so therefore it must go now. Then we have The 100, which is the major series that's based upon this. I was interested in it back in the day, but I am no longer, so it has to go. Then we have Dumpling. I have also had this for the longest time on my shelves, but I don't think I'm gonna read it. I might watch the movie at some point. I'm not interested in this anymore, so it has to go. Next up we have Brightly Burning. This is a YA sci-fi, I think, but I'm not interested anymore. I had this also for the longest time. I'm not gonna read it. Then we have The Weight of a Thousand Feathers. This is, I think, a hard-hitting contemporary, but as I said, I don't read contemporary all that much anymore, and when I do, it's usually like a thriller or like adult romance and not YA. Then we have Little and Lion, also contemporary, that I lost my interest in. Then we have 2 Adam Silvera books that I both read. They both die at the end, and history is all that left me. I did enjoy these quite a lot when I read those, but I'm not gonna reread these, so they have to go. Then we have First Life. I'm just not interested in this anymore, so it has to go. Next up is Crave the Mock by Veronica Roth. I was really interested in this when it came out. Completely lost my interest in it now, so it's going. Next up is I Hope You Get This Message. I think this was in an Owl Crate once upon a time, but I'm not gonna read this. Next up is The Prince Guide to the Occult. It's a beautiful cover, it has foil. But I'm not gonna be reading this. Next up we have Enchanté. I think this was in a LitJoy box back in the day. The cover is beautiful, but it is historical fiction and I don't gravitate towards that. When I do, it's usually adult historical fiction. So yeah, I'm just not interested in this. Then we have the exact opposite of okay. I was interested in this back in the day, but I keep hearing not so great things about this, so it has to go. Next up is The Daughters of Eve. I don't even remember buying this, so it has to go. Next up we have another Adam Silvera book, More Happy Than Not. I have not read this and I don't think I ever will, so it has to go. Next up we have Dry by Neil and Jared Schusterman. I read this. This was very interesting, very intriguing as well. I did enjoy myself quite a lot while reading this. I'm not gonna reread this, however, so therefore I'm just getting rid of it. Next up we have For Dead Queens. I think this was also in an Owl Crate box, maybe. Yeah, I think this was in an Owl Crate box once upon a time. It just sounds like another really typical YA fantasy book, and I don't have time for that. So therefore it must go. That was it. Those were all the books I'm getting rid of. There were a whole ton of books. I'm very impressed by myself. Let me know down below in the comments. Are there any books that you think I should keep and should give a second chance? Let's play like a little bit of a game. Which one of these books would you save? And maybe I can do it like this and see which books are getting mentioned the most and do a reading vlog of like 3 of the most mentioned books to see if you are correct or not. That would be a fun idea, not gonna lie. I just came up with this on the spot. I'm so clever. So let me know down below in the comments which book would you save. The 3 books that are being mentioned the most, I will save, read them, and make a reading vlog out of them for you guys to see if you were correct or not. So let me know. That was it for today though. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for your continued support. I love you a whole hecking ton. I'm gonna leave you for now, but hopefully I will be back with another video soon. Bye!